I'm gonna show you how I edited this image to this using Photomator for iPad. First thing first, I would like to crop the image to the desired outcome. That's the first thing I ever do with any photos that I start editing. Photomator has tons of options with square, original, different aspect ratios, and including the machine learning experience. But for the crop function, I tend to not rely most on the machine learning because I need to choose my real estate myself. But here's the crop is done. I like a square aspect ratio for this image. Next up, I like to do some noise reduction. I think Photomator has a very useful denoising function. It's same as noise reduction, but this one uses its machine learning experience to completely dissolves the noises in the background. Here's the before and after denoising. So I'll get you a little bit closer to show you how the before looks like, and this is the function after how the denoising has worked. And the next I like to do is super resolution this image, and it's simply the name as suggested, it just increases the resolution. That's all about it. It uses the machine learning and it's perfect. And here comes the most important aspect of my workflow. It's layers. Photomator has this capacity to add multiple layers on top of your image without destroying your base image. I'm working with a raw image layer here, and I can add adjustment layer, subject layer, background layer, and if there is any sky you can just add them. Photomator uses machine learning to identify which aspect of your photo is what, and then it transforms them into a layer. The first thing I like to do is the temperature adjustment, white balance adjustment on the adjustment layer. Come to think of it, I'd like to do all my basic edits like light, exposure, color, highlights, shadows, clarity of the whole image on this adjustment layer. Here's something that I enjoy the most or I like the most is the curves adjustment function. And Photomator has three different unique ways to do your adjustment on the curves. First thing is just simply picking your darks, whites and shadows, or just a blacks, white and gray area of your photo, and then it's automatically adjust its curves based on the selected portion. And in this particular image I don't have enough whites, so it just made it as a mess up. And the second one is pick 3 or 4 nodes in your straight line, linear line, and then you can make your fine tuning adjustments. That's the second option. And third option, it really works when you have an Apple Pencil, and you just select the portions. If you run your Apple Pencil on the screen, it shows you which part is the light and which part is darks and what's the highlights. The points and the nodes are automatically made when you make your first adjustment. If you see that there's 4 more additional points has been marked on there, and if you drag up and down, then it increases the intensity. If you drag left to right, it increases the luminosity of that curves. And here we jumped on to the subject layer, and this is the layer where I make some fine adjustments just to the subject to get it popped out from the entire photo. Remember, any edits that is made within the layer stays within the layer, right? So this is the subject layer. Here's where I can fine tune the shadows and midtones and highlights. Last but not the least, this is the background layer, the last aspect in my workflow. Photomator has automatically selected the foreground and background in this image to say this is not the subject and this is the background of the subject. And here's where I want to make some other fine tunings. Remember, my first edit was on the adjustment layer for the entire scenario, and then I jumped into the subject layer to fine tune and distinguish the subject, and now I'm going into the background layer to further emphasize the subject. So what I would do is I would entirely change the subject, entirely change the background, so the subject will be on the main focus of this image. Here's another interesting thing about Photomator. You can actually apply LUTs, like presets on top of your photos. That's interesting, isn't it? And it's time for me to export the edits. Photomator can export to all the commercially available formats. Exporting this image to 100% JPEG with the watermark. I got my logo as a watermark, and it has the ability to like reshape size, opacity, and then position the watermark. That's something that I missed when I moved from Adobe Suites, but it's included in Photomator. That's a very useful thing. And ultimately, my verdict is working on the flow, on the go, with an iPad, where I can do this much level of professional editing to any photos. It's completely useful for me. This has been an excellent software, and it works great. It looks great. And that's the story.